It's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, Gria Munson here from expatsportugal.com with the Good Morning Portugal live show and podcast. Now, what do I normally say? The Good Morning Portugal show live stream and podcast. Don't be eating your words. Well, not yet anyway. It's a bit early for that, isn't it? Not unusual to happen on the show, but a little bit early. And nonetheless, who's in this morning and how are you? Hola, bon dia, Gria. Tudo bem? Como vai? Antonio F. is in the building, as is Deagle and Baddy. Oh, my goodness, Baddy is in Iceland. And there was talk of some volcanic activity over there. Actually, not a euphemism or anything like that. Actually, some volcanic activity, but I think you're safe. Yes, do not worry, though. We are safe. Let's go straight to this, actually. Baddy in Iceland, from where she hails. And we had a very interesting conversation about how things work in Iceland at the meetup some time ago. Thank you to everybody who came to the meetup yesterday. It was small but perfectly formed and a few newbies there. Not one of our bigger events, but a nice chance to sit back, enjoy some food, enjoy the view of the bay, though somewhat misty as it is this morning, and hang out and chat. Really nice. My father-in-law is with me, staying with us at the moment, and had a really nice chat. And I think he thinks we live in a very nice country over here. And he was chatting to one of the stalwarts of the meetup, and they found out they had so much in common. Isn't it amazing? You travel hundreds or thousands of miles around the world, and then you sit next to somebody who you used to work very close to or in the same industry or something like that. It's a small world, isn't it? And we discover that quite often at the meetup. It was great to meet you, Sherry and Kathy, and Daniel as well from the Crad Studio. What an amazing chap you are. What an amazing story, Kathy and Sherry, you have too. Daniel is a doctor of architecture. Should you need one of those, folks? And he's building stuff here in Portugal, hoping to have him on the show one day. So thank you to everybody who came to the meetup yesterday. At a previous meetup, chatting with Baddy about Iceland, most things take a day to organize. Which is interesting, isn't it? Comparing that with bureaucratic life in Portugal. And if it's a really difficult thing, it takes 2 days. And I was asking Baddy, why is that? Well, we've only got 350,000 people. Did you know that? 350,000 people, the population of Iceland. Anyway, she's over there. Bon dia, Gampus, from erupting Iceland. Yeah, look, in my part of Iceland again. Do not worry, though, we're safe. I am working every weekday morning this month, so I'll not be able to join you in August. Boo! But I will be with you in spirit. Stay safe from the forest fires over there. I cannot wait to be back. What a lovely message from Baddy. So hope you're enjoying your work in the mornings throughout August, and we'll see you when you're back, Baddy. Thank you for that greeting this morning. James is in. Bom dia, Gampers. Feliz quinta a todos. Tudo bem? Muito bem, obrigado contigo. And let's go straight into a Will Rogers quote of the day then. Liberty doesn't work as well in practice as it does in speeches. Well, ain't that the truth? Will Rogers. Very prescient and appropriate there. Very interesting. I was going to read you a poem this morning, actually. I don't know why I'm suddenly reminded of that, but I would like to share a poem with you that I came across last evening. Would you like that? Let me ask you that first of all. Would you like to hear a little bit of poetry, or poetry, as some Brits call it, poetry? I would be delighted to read a poem to you about aging. Which came my way via the wonderful writer and speaker on the subject, Stephen Jenkinson. Poetry, anybody? Let me know. Just put poetry, please, in the chat, and I'll read that for you. Just a little bit of a detour and a very interesting insight on aging. Antonio is in, and Jean as well. Thank you, Jean, for that lovely picture yesterday. Bon dia todos, the New Jersey this morning. Yeah, Joe's a Jersey boy at the meetup yesterday as well. Stephen Wells is in. Thank you, Stephen, for your lovely information yesterday about hugging. We started talking about hugging yesterday on the show, didn't we? Victoria also in. Ubi's in as well. Love Ubi's comments. Yesterday, I pulled into Nazare. I was feeling about a half past dead. Okay, now, which is that based on? I've got it in my ear now as an earworm, but I can't quite place it. It's not Raining Men, is it? Although it does sound a lot like it. It's more bluesy than that. Ubi, I know you're shaking your head at your end, but let me know what that's based on. And although you say that you pulled into Nazaré, you're actually on the Farol. San Miguel this morning. So wow, you're over there in the Azores, are you? I think I'm still alive. Or is this a poem? What's going on here? Oh, it's the band, isn't it? That's being quoted and referred to there. And I think I'm still alive, but I may already be in heaven. Is more lyrics, or is that how you feel about where you are in San Miguel this morning? I suspect it's the latter. Aging, poetry, sure, why not? A little bit too unbothered for my liking now. I think I do want a little bit more of a reception than that, rather than a sure why not. Come on, we can do better than that. And I don't mind you being straight with me, okay? No, Cole, poetry about aging sounds terrible. Get out of here. Take a load off Annie. Take a load off me. Yes, okay. Thank you very much. The Weight by the band. Is that also how you're feeling? You've had a whole weight taken off you there as you enjoy the Azores. I'm piecing together a picture of who and where you are, Ubi, and I don't know if I'm doing a very good job or not. Pam's also in, as is Sarah in Stubble this morning. And I want to tell you about the weather over here on the Silver Coast. It's damp again this morning. And yesterday, I meant to share with you some condensation on a canna leaf like that. Look at those lovely big droplets. Although nothing in there for scale to tell you whether that is a blade of grass or indeed something a little bit bigger. And it is something a bit bigger. It's a canna leaf, that invasive plant that you see everywhere that looks a lot like bamboo. That was the water on the leaves yesterday. And then still by lunchtime, as I walked for the meetup in town, look at this morning glory bloom. It looks like a little light trumpet, doesn't it? The sun was shining through from the other side. It was brightening up, but we had quite an overcast day yesterday in the bay. And still at lunchtime, condensation on the blooms there, which I thought was a rather nice effect on the flowers as we walked into town. Thank you for letting me share those with you. And if you have any pictures yourself, do send them in on 913-590-303. Go to your comments in further depth in just a moment. It is, of course, Move to Portugal Thursday. And we'll have Wiley with us from around 9 this morning. Thank you for joining us, Wiley. Well, at least promising to. Let's see what happens at 9. I'm sure she'll be here. Extremely reliable, as you would expect from a buyer's agent in Cascais and the Estoril area. And of course, she is a great fan of Cascais, lives there, loves it. And this morning wants to share with us some of the more unusual, unexpected aspects of the town. When I say Cascais to you, what do you think? First of all, maybe Carl's not pronouncing that right, of course, given. But what else? When I say Cascais, what do you think? Lots of expats, lovely town centre, good railway line, lovely beach, of course, and that big hotel overlooking the beach, the lighthouse, those sorts of things about Cascais. But what else? What else? We will find out more about. I was just seeing your comment, James. We'll find out more about Cascais and the lesser known aspects of it that Wiley loves dearly and will be sharing with us after 9. Poetry, yay! That's more like it, rather than yeah, sure, why not? This morning, James. Thank you very much. Okay, all right then. I'll read you that poem. And Antonio F. I prefer wind. Oh, although winter is a bit harsh. What was the question there? I wonder. Let's go back and find out, shall we? Nazare's weather is unbelievably perfect this morning. A bit foggy. Okay, so are you in the Azores? Are you in Nazaré? I don't know what's going on now. Word association then with Cascais, money and wealth. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. That's and very understandable. Yeah, it does. I was going to use the word reek of wealth. That's not the nicest way of putting it, isn't it? But you do feel like you're in a place where people are well heeled. Shall I put it like that instead? Today's morning mist in Sintra area turned into drizzle this morning. So it can go one of two ways, roughly speaking, can't it? That morning mist can be burnt off by bright sunshine, or it can turn into mizzle, drizzle, and even rain. And it's the latter over there in Sintra this morning. Thanks for that weather report. I love these actual weather reports from people coming in from their own experience where they live rather than the guesses of distant weathermen and women and meteorologists. Deagle, I think, was in. Yes, bon dia, Carl and Gumpus from a dry Belfast. A lot of rain to start August off. 31 mils, going for a swim, 8:15 to 10:15. So we'll listen in later. 2 hours of swimming. Behave. Santa's watching, apparently. That's the second mention of Christmas, isn't it, this week? It's a way off yet. Don't worry. Don't panic, anybody, in case you're thinking, what, Christmas, December already? No. Don't worry, you're fine for a little while. But yes, a good reminder that Santa is watching. Bon dia a todos was the greeting from Antonio earlier on this morning. We had one of those from Jean as well. Oh, a bit of a dad joke warning to give you, I think. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get straight into the dad jokes. And I didn't complete my Norwegian Navy joke. Why have they got barcodes on the side of their ships? I'll tell you the answer to that after I've played the appropriate warning.
Warning. Warning.
Oh, no! Oh, yes. Well, first one, thanks to James. Dad joke warning. Have you heard about the new extreme circus? It's intense. And of course, the reason why the Norwegian Navy have barcodes on the sides of their ships is so they can Scandinavian. Thank you. Bon dia then, Stephen, as well this morning. And going back to the start of Ubi's trail, if we can piece together whether he is in the Azores or on the Silver Coast near me. And if you are, why haven't we met up yet, Ubi? Hola, bon dia a todos from Ubi. One of those from Victoria as well. And from Sarah too. Still not getting that right, am I? And one of those from Pamela as well. I think I'm alive, but I may already be in heaven. So come on, Ubi, let us know. Are you here on the Silver Coast in Nazaré or are you in San Miguel? I still don't really understand. Yes, the energy in Cascais is rich with money and abundance. Yes, indeed. But for the sailor surfer in me, it is thick with the breath of a host of holy angels and Our Lady's tears. Yes, of course. One of the great legends, or maybe you're mixing a few up there around Nazaré, where that another wealthy, abundant type of person was riding their horse, right? Is that the one you're referring to, Ubi? And chasing a stag, and not knowing on a morning like this, foggy as it was, like in Sintra too, that the cliff edge was approaching, and the horse leapt in pursuit of the deer, and this gentleman was going to plunge to certain death, if not being saved thereupon by Our Lady, Nossa Senora. Is that right? Is that what you're referring to over that way? And there is a deer park, isn't there, that I think has been set up in memory of that myth and legend over there at Nazaré. They call me Mellow Yellow. That's right, Slick. I enjoy visiting Cascais every once in a while, but couldn't afford to live there. Okay, so that there's Antonio's verification of the wealth required to live over there in Cascais. But we'll find out directly from Wiley this morning, what sort of bargains are available and maybe even what's going on at the top end as well. Is it continuing to escalate? We'll find out after 9 o'clock. I will visit Cascais for the first time in October. I want to visit the Paula Rego Museum. Good stuff, Pamela. Any chance of a link to Paula Rego? If you've got her official website, I wouldn't mind showing that to people, as well as showing the official website of King Barreiros, who we mentioned yesterday. And I think it was Elra, wasn't it, who'd remembered dancing to King when she was a child and was surprised to hear him still going on the circuit. And if you're wondering what King looks like, I think he's in that sort of kind of vibe. That Pimba music, I think, is what his genre that he deals in. And let me share with you on the screen then a few pickies of King. And it'll be great to share a few pickies of Paula Rego as well. What a legend. As well, the museum of which is in Cascais by the sound of it, that Pam's going to be visiting soon. That's quite a contrast and quite a pairing, isn't it? King Barreiros and Paula Rego this morning. Let me give you just a quick look at King. I've got to be careful typing Quim into a search engine, but I think we're okay. There you go. Look at that. There he is with his accordion. And a smile on his face. This guy is a Portuguese legend, clearly, isn't he? Even with a mask on, seems to be showing off his tash, his signature tash. There's a baby goat in one of the pictures. He's delivering vaccines as well as entertaining people. What a legend. And what a charming smiley face he has there, entertaining many a generation here in Portugal. There's even a CD. In fact, you can probably get every format, can't you? The original 78s, going through to plastic vinyl, then into cassettes, then CDs. And you can even download him now. There he is with a black eye. I wonder what happened there. You can download. Have I put this on the screen for you? I haven't, have I? I'm just talking about the pictures entirely to myself. Sorry about that. There's King Barreiros for you. The baby goat, the Cabritinha, figures in a number of these, but there's a cooking pot, so maybe that's where it ended up. In that picture. These are great. Keen, you brought so much joy to the screen this morning. You'll see holding up there a big old red snapper in another picture. Love this guy, and I love what he's all about. Accordion in hand, and never far away from a bit of a giggle and a laugh and a tapping of the foot to brighten up your day here in Portugal. King Barreiros, everyone, I present to you. Okay, thank you for that. Paulo Rego, maybe to follow as well. And Goldilocks Tony is in. Where are you at? Where are you at with that countdown? Talking of countdowns and what'll be happening this evening, webinar of the evening tonight, Thursday, of course. Every Thursday we have a Portugal calling webinar, courtesy of Expats Portugal. And tonight, no exception, we'll be talking to the Stelicas who have made their journey. You may have been following that in the Expats Portugal forum. They've been very, very open and transparent about their whole journey, documented well in the forum. And Hank and Connie will be talking with us tonight about that journey. And now that they're resident in Porto, what that's like for them. So if you want to hang out and chat, it's very informal. I'll have a little chat with them first, bit of a conversation about their whole progress. And anyone else who's on the call can also ask questions. And actually others may wish to step forward with their newfound experience of living life, coming to Portugal and living life here as well. So that should be fun tonight. Maybe Ubi is at the San Miguel, the Fort San Miguel in Nazaré, looking out over the mist. I think that's right, but he's keeping us guessing here. I've just seen Pete's comment as well. That's an impressive merket on Keen. What does that mean? Is that a tash? Is that another word for tash? Here's a question about Cascais. Okay, we'll put this to Wiley when she gets here. There's a shop there. It has to be in the high rent district that sells socks. Yep, just socks. How does that work? Now you do wonder, don't you? I mean, it's the same with the tins of sardines shops, isn't it? Perhaps, well, I suppose, yeah, there must be quite a markup. But when all you sell is tins of sardines, again, how does that work? You may have other questions of that kind. We'll put them to Wiley when she gets there. She's not going to be expecting that, is she? Answering questions about a sock shop. But we'll see how that goes. And Cascais is too poshy chic for me, but I like the beaches. Oh, okay, a bit of a Cascais pushback. And I have been to Carmel. I'm sure I have. I think there are seals on the beach there, aren't there, at Carmel? No, that's where was that? The place where Deepak Chopra had a clinic, but he's probably got one of those in every part of California, if not all over the States. Carmel, that's where Clint Eastwood, I believe, hangs out or has hung out, right? And there's a jazz festival there. Is that right? I'm pretty sure I've been there on my tour of California. Okay, San Miguel Lighthouse, not in San Miguel Azores. The mystery has been solved. Thank you for that, Ubi. And when are we going to meet? San Miguel Lighthouse is the point in Nazaré between North and South Praia. Thank you very much for clearing that mystery up. We have Brian in as well this morning. Bon dia, Brian. How's your ankle, mate? Oh, there we are. We're right back. We're back in touch and up to date, I think, with the comments so far, with Pam telling us that she's going to see the Paulo Rego Museum in Cascais as well. So only 5, 4, 3, and nearly Tony Baldilocks Thunderbirds are go over there. That's getting exciting for you. There's a Paulo Rego Instagram account. Thank you for that. Might show that a little bit later on as well, because I mentioned that to Wiley. I suspect she'll have been to the Paulo Rego museum there as well. Scupa me, Antonio. Why is Ubi apologizing to Antonio? What has he done? And might be an old cheap rent. The mystery of the sock shop being revealed perhaps here. Expensive souvenir socks for tourists, or a money laundering scheme. So it's washing socks and money. Oh, Antonio, that's so cynical, honestly. Yeah, they're designer socks, not just any old socks, and not even old socks, brand new socks. And I suspect there's a frightening, eye-watering markup on those bad boys. And Socks with only 2 holes in them where you put your feet in, of course. Brand new socks, and with a massive markup would be my guess on that. We'll see how well we can surprise Wiley with that question in a little while. And Raj is in as well. Bon dia todos, how you doing? And a God Squad tip of the day. So stand by. We'll be right back at you with the God Squad tip of the day right after this. Oh, by the way, T-Duck, I have been in touch with T-Duck. He's not feeling the best at the moment. I think it's safe to say, and we're sorry to hear that. But I've been in touch with him. He's okay. He's on the mend, and hopefully will be joining us soon. But resting up at the moment. Okay, so that God Squad tip of the day then. We had paella for dinner last night. Where's this going? I reduced the amount of rice from the recipe by 10%. Okay, so take those carbs out and increase the vegetables. One meal won't make any difference, but every day will help greatly. That's like slow and steady, stow and leady wins the race, doesn't it? Yeah, many a mickle makes a muckle, I suppose. Was that to Mark Twain? Let me know, James. Okay, so that's really good. Paella for dinner last night. Change up the recipes perhaps to diminish the amount of carbs and increase the amount of live and real food in there, the unprocessed parts of the meal. Good tip there. Thank you very much, Coach Turner. One meal won't make any difference, but every day will help greatly. Thank you very much for that. I love the ones in Costa de Caparica, says Antonio F, but are very crowdy this month. And Porto Covo in the Alentejo. What are we talking about? Oh, favorite beaches. Okay, Costa Caparica. Yeah, absolutely. Do you ever get all the way down to the Fonte de Telia, which is my favorite over that way, Antonio? Yeah, what's your favorite beach? We love the ones north of Porto that Joel showed us. That's the green coast, presumably Costa Verde, north of Porto up there. That is a real treasure up that way, isn't it? Can be a little bit windy, of course, but then all beaches can at some point, I guess. And a little bit cooler, certainly in the winter. But on a beautiful day up on the green coast there, what a treasure that is for Portugal. And another unsung and possibly undervalued part of the country there. 2 more for your bucket list. Maybe not in August there. Okay, Costa de Caparica and Porto Covo in the Alentejo. That's a new one on me, Porto Covo in the Alentejo. Is that near Villanova de Milfonches, perhaps? Which I must get to as well. Love the area around there, but we didn't actually make it all the way to the beach at Villanova de Milfonches there. Okay, poetry then this morning, given that at least one person, in fact, only one person has asked for it. And yeah, maybe I didn't sell it adequately. Maybe I could have put it differently, can I? Would you like to hear a poem about aging? No, probably not. First thing on a Thursday morning, if your knees are creaking and you can't see straight yet without your glasses on. Anyway, I'm going to read it because I think there's something very beautiful about it. As I said, it was brought my way by the marvelous and wonderful Mr. Stephen Jenkinson, who has a thing or two to say about how we approach death. I'm all love and light this morning, aren't I? All upbeat stuff this morning. And the poet that he referred to in a podcast that I was listening to last night goes by the name of Stafford. Okay, an American poet by the name of William Stafford. Everybody. Oh, I've got a nice little video as well to share with you. Okay, so if all this talk of aging and death is just too much this morning, I've got a lovely little Atlantic video, the light at the end of the tunnel video that I will share with you as well. Let me just get that set up so that I can, by sleight of hand and video, I can give you something else. The light at the end of the tunnel, I suppose, is exactly what you need to hear and see after a poem about aging, perhaps. Okay, let me just share that MP4 or save that MP4 and load it up. And that'll be the finale of my poetry reading this morning. Oh my goodness, it's turning into a bit of a happening here with poetry and video. And King Barreiros joining us in some strange way. Okay, that poem then, let me share this with you now. William Stafford, and it's called The Waiting in Line by William Stafford. You, the very old, I have come to the edge of your country and looked across. How your eyes warily look into mine when we pass. How you hesitate when we approach a door. Sometimes I understand how steep your hills are and your way of seeing the madness around you, the careless waste of the calendar, the rush of people on buses. I have studied how you carry packages, balancing them better, giving them attention. I have glimpsed from within the grey eyed look at those who push, and occasionally even I can achieve your beautiful, bleak perspective on the loud, the inattentive, shoving bores jostling past you toward their doom. With you from the pavement, I have watched the nation of the young, like jungle birds that scream as they pass or gyrate on playgrounds, their frenzied bodies jittering with the disease of youth. Knowledge can cure them, but not all at once. It will take time. There have been evenings when the light has turned everything silver, and like you, I have stopped at a corner and suddenly staggered with the grace of it all, to have inherited all this, or even the bereavement of it, and finally being cheated. The chance to stand on a corner and tell it goodbye. Every day, every evening, every abject step or stumble has become heroic. You others, we, the very old, have a country. A passport costs everything there is. Now, I think that's very, very beautiful. Thank you so much, William Stafford, for that contribution to the world. You're in the form of your beautiful poetry there. And now a video, the light at the end of the tunnel. There you go, Mrs. M enjoying the Atlantic. How lovely is that? And you could see from that shot there, I don't think I've got that on my picture deck, but literally the light at the end of the tunnel. I could see the other day a grey graffiti tunnel at San Martino de Porto. And then just in beautiful, vibrant colours at the end, the Atlantic, which draws you in, and then you get to see it and enjoy it, as Mrs. M did the other day, briefly. Okay, how's everyone doing in the comments? Did you like that poetry? No, I don't think so. And who doesn't like a poem about aging first thing in the morning? Not many of you, by the sound of it. So maybe Poetry Corner is not a goer for the future, or maybe we'll just need some filthy limericks instead, and then everyone will love the poetry contributions, won't they? I love Porto Covo, says Pam. How did the meetup go, Pam? Did I ask that already? But I'll be sharing. I shared it with people last night that we have 2 Silver Coast meetups now, don't we? At least, and we have the one that you shared with us, which is at the Green Park, which is a fantastic place to go to in Alcobaça, not in the centre of town. And I had this conversation with a couple of people yesterday who lived in the area for quite a long time. And I said, "Oh, isn't Alcobaça lovely? We've been there to Finanzas and didn't think much of the town." And I said, "Well, it's 2 places. You know, you've got the old monastery part around the Praça there, where you can sit and eat and watch the world go by and really, you know, enjoy yourself in the depth and richness of the history of the place. And then there's the outskirts, which are all kind of modern and, you know, nice enough, but nothing like the old historical heart of the place, which is actually very well hidden, isn't it? Not an unusual thing here in Portugal, of course, to have things well hidden from the fast eye mentioned there in that poem. But yes, Alcobaça, if you have been there and thought to yourself, what's that about? It just looks like any other town in Portugal. Make sure you find yourself, and it probably is a way that the one-way system and the traffic management works there, to obviously to keep people out of the town square, because they don't want that choked up with traffic. But make the effort to find the monastery, and you too will fall in love, like the people yesterday who I was speaking to at the meetup, with Alcobaça, where Pam is. And of course, you can talk to and consult with Pam. She is part of the Ask Her Expats team at Expats Portugal, and is a great ambassador for the place and life in Portugal as well. And I don't know if you're a host, but part of that meetup in Alcobaça that's happening on Tuesdays, and our San Martino one, of course, is on a Wednesday every week here in San Martino de Porto. If you want to be on the list for that, to have updates and to make sure you're going to the right venue. There's a funny thing yesterday. I was getting messages from people. Oh, do you know what? I don't think I've sent the the link to Wiley here, and that's why she sent me some funny emojis this morning. Hello, she's saying. Oh dear. Here's the link. I tried it, but it's expired. Okay, try that one then, Wiley. You'll be fine. You'll be with us in just a moment. I think that's the right one. Yeah. Okay, she's going to be with us in just a moment. what else was? What was I saying? Oh yeah, join the list for the WhatsApp updates because I got a message from somebody at the meetup saying, "Is it happening today?" And when you're first arriving at the meetup, unless of course I wear a carnation in my lapel and have a folded up copy of the British Daily Times under my armpit to reveal myself, people don't necessarily know. And it was a little bit awkward. I've got to say, it was fun talking to you, Kathy, especially when you said to me something like, you don't really look like you do on the show. And I said, what do you mean? Like much more exhausted and worn out in real life. She said, yeah. How rude are you, Kathy? Anyway, looking forward to seeing you again at the meetup sometime soon. So Pam, loving Porto Covo. And very happy to meet and greet you at the meetup in Alcobaça on a Tuesday. I love Foz Beach, but my favorite so far is Bugão in Western Algarve. Talking of favorite beaches, video on its way. That's fantastic. Thank you. Farol. All right, Maxine. These people who only pipe up when I'm speaking Portuguese incorrectly, like you, Maxine, but I do thank you at the same time as well. None taken. Farol. Okay. Yes, Carl. Porto Covo is some 17 kilometers away from Milanova de Milfontes. Okay, talking of pronunciation, let's say Cascais rather than Cascais or Cascais or many of the other ways people pronounce it. As we welcome onto the screen Wiley live from that wonderful place. How are you doing, Wiley?
Good morning.
Woohoo! There she is, everybody. That's quite a lot to live up to, that massive round of applause, isn't it?
Exactly. So I see the wave happening in the background.
There is a wave as well. The Gumpers, I mean, they're not as fast to their feet as they used to be. Some people are trying to do a Mexican wave and then thinking better of it as their lower back pain kicks in. How are you this morning?
I'm good. Life is good. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Thank you. Very well. Sorry, I sent you the wrong link. How stressful might that have been?
I'm like, help me! It's all good.
Okay. Now, this morning, this was a great idea of yours, I have to say, that we talk about Cascais, we talk about Estoril, we talk about buying property in those wonderful places that I imagine are maintaining their popularity and value at the moment. Is that right? Yes. Continuing on the up, but also there are other parts to Cascais that people might not necessarily know about, that you do know about and want to celebrate this morning, right? I did word association, and I said, what is the first thing you think of when I say Cascais? And people say, money and wealth and rich people and, the expat life over there. And you can forgive people for thinking that. And there are, there's the big hotel overlooking the beach and the lighthouse. And there are the things that people are familiar with, a lovely town, so much calçada, lovely shops, a sock shop, in fact, that we also want to ask you about. But there are many other sides to it as well, aren't there? So what was it that inspired you to want to talk about this?
It's one of the things that I do when my clients get here is I get them in the car and I drive them along Guincho Beach because I figure that's kind of the beach that everyone talks about.
Guincho, yes,
and also, what's interesting is like when you leave Casa de Guia, which is kind of the entrance towards that 10-kilometer beach strip. I drove there the other day and the temperature in my car or outside dropped 6 degrees from the time I got to one side to the time I got to the other side, because it takes this sharp hairpin turn towards the north and you're blasted with this cold air. So it's fascinating that I can take them on the beach, take them up the hill to Malvera, and within 3 to 5 minutes, we're in a forest that you could get lost in. It kind of reminds me of the blue, what's it called? The blue forest in Australia, the Blue
Mountain, possibly?
Blue Mountains, thank you.
Yes,
it feels like that. It's undulating and you can see the Pena Palace, from one direction, and you can see downtown Lisbon from the other, and, back towards the furthest back to Cabo de Roca. And the forest it's spectacular. And one of the things I actually like the best about it is I'm almost always alone, which fascinates me when you realize the depth of it. I mean, it's huge. And there's so many things going on in there, including a Boy Scout camp, including a adventure park where you traverse and you climb. And there's an outlook that we just built a new fire tower because the old one was built in wood. So now this one's built in metal.
Yes, that makes sense.
Let's let that go.
Yes.
So, I take all of my clients up there and they're fascinated when we stand at this fire tower and we can see all of it. And they finally realize that that Cascais and Estoril are literally this close to each other, and they're no longer hooked up on have to live here because they realize that here to here is really close. So the forest it's a magical place, and we pick mushrooms there. There are cork trees there. I see raspberries and blueberries there. The fruit trees are incredible. It's the most tranquil, beautiful place. So I just had to snap some pictures the other day for you. And then it's very close, all these different entrances to the forest. And one of them is called Mula Dam, which is our dam, which I should have gone there yesterday, but it's empty. And that's really, it's like this much water in it. And when I first moved here, it was like to the brim and overflowing.
Yeah,
it's devastating. It's
Yeah,
scary.
yeah. Well, let's have a look at some of those pictures, if we may, for a moment, because these are very alluring, and I understand completely why you want to share this aspect.
Oh, it's magical. It's like a troll forest. It's gorgeous.
Trouble is, though, Wiley, you know, you were saying what surprises you is you're often on your own there. This might change that, of course.
That's okay. It's huge. It's huge.
Okay, right,
so many entrances.
I've got a few views, and in no particular order as well. I've got quite a lot of tabs open with some lovely views to show you, and I think even possibly a bus ride we might be going on. Well.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. I do like those sort of videos. We're going on a bus ride, everybody. So remember to pack your sandwiches and maybe a raincoat this morning. But this great big rock here, that's something you encounter. What's the scale of that bad boy there?
Well, it was probably 2 of me. They're just massive. They're massive rocks. Okay. It's incredible to see them.
Troll boulders then around the place as you're walking around. There you go. So lovely blue sky. And are we looking at some water at the bottom of that in that particular picture? Okay.
No, that's a village. But there is one picture that shows you the water in a crest like this. That one. That's the ocean.
There we go. What a lovely forest path that is as well.
But that shows you how close it is to the ocean. I mean, that's the proximity. Within 15 minutes of leaving the beach, you can be in the forest. And that's what nobody knows about Cascais. And that's, to me, what makes it so magical.
And what beach is that we're looking at?
That's going to be, you're going to go, that's close. That's almost Pared Carcavelos.
Okay. All right. Very nice. Very nice indeed. And here, some of the paths have been made up, so they're a little easier to traverse.
Well, there should be water underneath that.
Oh, okay. I see.
That should be trickling down from the top of the mountain. So yeah, that's almost a bridge.
Okay. And then we're going into some of this, when we're having our conversation before, some of the sort of artistic representation and the craftiness.
Yeah.
That's sculptural.
Cascais is so magical because they keep everything clean and keep everything available. And you couldn't have traversed this otherwise. It was 2 huge boulders, and a dog could have climbed through this little tunnel, or a 3-year-old, but no human being was getting around this corner. So they do things like this. And that's another thing that Cascais is so good at. They're always making it better for us. They always make the paths better, the slopes better. They traverse them. They keep them green. There's garbage cans everywhere. I mean, it's well run, Cascais.
Yeah. And look at this. Some other. This might be a bit of a surprise. We'll come back to the park as well. When I dropped my family off for a little wander around while I went to a meeting, they found that incredible park in the center of town with the libraries with chickens running about. We'll come back to that because that's a pretty extraordinary place too. But what's this? Are these public allotments or something that are going on? There's some serious
and you'd think they were. This is called Quinta Pizao. And Quinta Pizao, when you first park your car, you walk through a petting zoo, and then there's picnic tables. There's almost always birthday parties there. And then if you keep walking, which is they don't give it the best signage, but if you keep walking, you enter this, and you can see these are rows and rows and rows of the most beautiful fruits and vegetables. And if you can just turn the corner and come in, they hand you a basket and cutting shears, and they let you go, or you tell them what you want, and they'll walk you there. And you literally pull it out of the earth and put it in your basket, and they go and weigh everything and put them in these beautiful tissuey paper bags and hand you this gorgeous sack to take home with you. And it's like €8.
Pick your own.
I mean, with
dirt on.
No chemicals. It is mind-blowing. And there's no reason anybody should shop anywhere but here.
Okay, so hold on a minute. We've got what we have here then is Pigeon is the name of the place. Yep. And you're picking your own vegetables.
Yeah, so you can see how big it is. It's bigger than that. It goes around the corner again.
Okay, what I need to do with these, because I think we've borrowed some other people's images to convey the glory of this, and I'll put the links to them so people can get appropriate credit.
Well, it's all Cascais, camera.
Yes, quite amazing, Pijal. And then another view of, and there are some people eyeing up the vegetables that they're going to be plucking and putting into their basket. And then
It's
you wait. When you say €8, what is it? Is that the general price for? Is it a collective price?
Well, I've never paid more, really. I mean, I like stuff as many fruits and vegetables as I can get, unless you're doing something like a pumpkin, which is quite heavy. But I mean, lettuce doesn't weigh anything, right? But there's no barcodes on any of them. They're just, I mean, it's just incredible. And it follows, obviously, it follows the seasons. So you get your kale, your cole, the hardier vegetables at the end of the year. And you pick your apples and your plums. And I mean, it's phenomenal. No, they don't use any pesticides. It is crazy.
Pijal is the name of the place there. That's fantastic. And keen to the Pijal is the whole thing. And is that part of the camera's offering?
It's owned by the camera.
Is it?
Yes, it is. And when COVID happened and people were falling on hard times, they then donated baskets of food to these people. And there's another program where if you don't, and I saw it at the base of Pingo Doce. There's a Pingo Doce here now in Montreal. And if you recycle certain things, and I have to be clear about this, they give you a voucher, and enough of those vouchers you can go and trade it in for food. I mean, it's amazing.
Incredible. You've also put me onto a resource here. I want to come back to a number of things, including the park with the chickens. And picking your own mushrooms as well. We have to exercise some sense of caution with that. But
absolutely.
We'll come back to that in a little while. And we're going to be going on that bus ride. But also, there is a website called As Mais Belas Rotundas. Some will know that means the most beautiful roundabouts in Portugal. And Cascais has one of these. I see that there are 80 of them. I've got to give people the link to this, and I can't. There are so many. I don't know if I can find them. Let me do. I'll do a Control F on this and see if we can find the actual one, and then show the picture. Okay, we've got Castello, we've got Casa. Okay,
I actually couldn't find any from Cascais, if I'm not mistaken, because
okay, all right.
I was talking to you earlier about this beautiful new thing. There's a crazy thing for those of you who live in Cascais already. We've never been able to drive. We've always drive past the Mercado, which is our farmers market, and we have to go up and we have to go around this massive building called Tribunal, which is our courthouse and our town hall. And we always have to go around this thing. It's a pain in the butt. And they just rebuilt the Citadel Hotel. As a matter of fact, Mrs. Ming is the one who rebuilt the Citadel Hotel. So it's a 5-star.
Mrs. Ming? Who's Mrs. Ming?
The wealthy Chinese investor. Like, I watched her climb out of her limousine with all her bodyguards in this beautiful 5-star. It's now called the Legacy. And they took the opportunity to rearrange the traffic. So now, for the first time, you go up the hill and there's a stoplight. And you don't have to go 3 corners around. You go straight through, which is mind-blowing for those of us who live here. And at the end of that new kind of the length of the hotel, they have put this amazing roundabout with a 500-year-old olive tree in that is, you have to stop and it catches your breath. It's like it's been there its whole life. It's gorgeous. So I really feel like this little fisherman's town that has this reputation of being for the rich and famous, it's not, you don't feel that way when you're here because there's some places that are still kind of from yesteryear. But when they come and become more cosmopolitan, they're not erecting these kind of glassy obliques in the middle of town. You know, they're holding that sense of grounding, that sense of fisherman village, that sense of old trees, as opposed to, you know, fancy sculptures. And these new roundabouts they're putting up are all beautifully landscaped. And it just makes you stop and wonder, you know, where it all comes from, because someone in the Cascais has a beautiful imagination.
Okay. There's also this to deal with. I believe it's Cascais. We'll come back to that. But I can see what's going on here. When Mrs. Ming wants to invest in your town, they probably do say yes. But we are going to push back a little bit with a 500
infrastructure.
Yes. We want a 500-year-old olive. She sounds amazing. I've just done a quick search on Mrs. Ming in Cascais. And as you might imagine, there are a number of ladies called Mrs. Ming on the internet. But that's probably somewhere to come back to. And maybe we'll have tea with her one day, Wiley, if you could organise that. And we'll do a live show from the Legacy Hotel one day. That would be great. great fun to do one day. Okay, so yeah, mushrooms then. Going back to mushrooms, you can forage in the forests of Cascais, can you?
You can.
Okay, and what are you finding there? Do you know a lot about this?
I actually don't, but I know I walked past and see people doing this.
Oh, okay, all right.
So, and I mean, they've got their hiking boots on and they've got their backpacks, and it feels like they know how to do this.
Yes,
And yeah, they're in there with their baskets and they're foraging, and yeah.
So, folks, if you are thinking of foraging, take a professional or a very knowledgeable person with you. Don't just be thinking, "Oh, a lovely holiday in Cascais. We'll go and pick some mushrooms in the forest," because you might have a holiday you'll never forget. You might be
you won't remember.
Or you won't remember. You might just wake up without your trousers on in the city centre hours later.
Wings.
Be careful with that stuff. Okay, excellent. And what's this? Pete, we've done this joke before, haven't we? The meat. Come on. Beautiful poem. Obrigadissimo. Thank you very much, James, for that. I got there in the end with some recognition for Poetry Corner this morning, Wiley. Now it's official. I am old. Beautiful poem. Obrigadissimo. Carl, there we go. And speaking of Cascais, I read somewhere it's pronounced Cascais. That's one way of remembering it, isn't it? Okay, you could get away with that, I guess. But I noticed, Wiley, you say Cascais with a s rather than a sh on the end there, don't you? Laura P's in as well. Bom dia a todos. Hoje a empresa. Just a quick hello, and I'll go. All right, be like that. See you all tonight on the call when we talk to Hank and Connie. It's a bit like the Boom Festival. Gone are the trancers, and in is the president, and 18,500 scouts. A nice surprise. That's Portugal for you, isn't it? And I imagine, yeah, your forests are like the central Portugal forest. 1 minute you've got a trance festival going on. They disappear without trace, only to be replaced by 18,500 scouts and the president as well, welcoming them to the forest as well. Love you, Portugal, especially these sorts of touches, the sort of things that Wiley's talking about this morning. João F, I'm sure João F will have something to say about Cascais this morning. He and Antonio are honorary Portuguese gentlemen who join us, and we're very glad they do. Good morning, everyone else. Today I managed to get here at 9 o'clock. Something extraordinary must be happening today. Yes, Wiley's here, look. I love the poem, but maybe a tad more serial and Portuguese like Philomena's. Yes, true. And that would have been what I wanted to say, but forgot, Pete. Portuguese poetry. If you have, I'm happy to read in the Portuguese, but if you've got translations as well of some Pessoa maybe, then do let me have those and I will gladly read them out. Portuguese Poetry Corner, why not? Let's see, have we got any more questions then about Cascais for Wiley? Oh, well, no, got a mention of Batalha. Not as obvious as Batalha, where they keep the monastery on the main road. That's true. Have you ever been to Batalha, Wiley? It's quite something as you're driving along the main road, and there's a monastery right there. They hide theirs in over there in Alcobaça. Monasteries, castles, you have those presumably in Cascais, or is it more about the? Okay, tell us about those historical monuments, if you will, then in Cascais.
You know, there's you see them as you're walking down the street, and they kind of have turned into museums, like the museum. I think you want to mention something about a park where there's chickens. There's a beautiful. Okay, hold on. So there's downtown. You see them, but they've been turned into museums, or they're private homes. So there was places. Villa Italia is a hotel where there's a story that the Italian prince or someone came and it was his family's home and he hid there, and I think he died there. Not sure. And now it's a beautiful hotel. So because they're so large and so gorgeous, I don't think they just leave them. Very often they've turned them into hotels or museums or different things like that. There are different and assorted monasteries. As a matter of fact, I have some clients looking to buy a monastery, a 17th century monastery, that they would like to turn into a small hotel. So again, these are the types of things that they're doing with the monasteries. And if they're not ruins, because ruins, they're ruins until they're not ruins. Just depends on who you know.
You can buy a monastery. You are helping some people possibly buy a monastery.
Yeah.
Wow, incredible. Okay, so here's your Câmara Municipal de Cascais. This is the town council website, I suppose, would be one way of describing it. Tudo começa na pessoas would appear to be the catchphrase of the town. a few of these things you might want to talk about, folks. But that is the characteristic view of Cascais that everybody knows, isn't it?
Everyone knows that one, right?
What is that building there, Wiley? Can that be visited, or is that the mayor's house?
I believe it is a museum of sorts. There's signs outside. There's a lot of people outside. And forgive me for not knowing exactly what that one is, but if you walk to the end where the Ferrol is, there is one of our best coffee shops, which is really wild because they built it inside the wall of this kind of old area. And so I walk past that building a lot and have never stopped. So it must not be alluring, or I would have probably gone in.
And the town changes, doesn't it? Its atmosphere at that point. So you go from quite a a towny town with all the amenities and facilities that you would expect, and then it becomes more historical around this sort of area, doesn't it? That side.
The minute you cross over that bridge, it becomes super historical. And the water, if you go right towards right, not the ocean on that, is another gorgeous building. And that is the entrance also of the park you're talking about, where there's peacocks walking around and roosters and chickens walking around.
Yes, well, that's what surprised my family when they were having a wander around, going to the library, going to a cafe, as you would, of course, in Portugal. And there are chickens wandering about. And who does that? Who does that? Well, it's the Portuguese, folks. I think it's not unusual to have chickens wandering around a park anywhere in this country.
I mean, there's a huge pond with just turtles crawling all over each other, and they keep it beautifully clean. There's sculptures there. There's a children's park there. It's gorgeous. It goes on for a long time. It has a beautiful cafe, as your family saw. You can bring your dog with you as long as on a leash, because all of these animals they just think that everyone should kind of hang out together. Right there is the Hippodromo, right at the end of that park, where we just had the EDP Cool Jazz Festival. And Diana Krall and John Legend were here. And,
what?
It's
okay.
Like in our town, like walking distance from your home, you could go to the Cool Jazz Festival. They do it every year. And people who don't buy tickets to go inside, they're in this park with picnic baskets listening to this music. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, and full another incredible reflection of Portugal's understated excellence, right? I mean, that's an incredible jazz festival to have the likes of Diana Krall and John Legend. Not making a big deal about it, right? It's the EDP Jazz Festival. Was the atmosphere electric at the EDP Jazz? Thank you very much. Oh, okay. Right. Oh, should we go on a bus ride now?
Let's go.
Okay, all right. This is not going to be easy because I wasn't able to download it. But we're looking again, I think, at the Câmara Municipal de Cascais' own Facebook page. And I'll do my best to bring this onto the screen in all its glory. We're going on a little bus ride. Everybody hold tight right now.
We're starting this right at the train station at where the train stops from Lisbon.
Okay.
They've done a lot of new work in this roundabout.
Okay. And they've given it a really romantic name, this bus ride. It's the M44, isn't it? Okay, so let's go.
So funny.
Oh, come on, not like that. All right, now I've got to do this justice. Enter full screen. Yeah, we go.
Yeah. Woo! Listen to the sound. That's it. That's where you go. Yeah.
Oh, we're going to do it again. Let's go again because I missed it out last time. Go on a bike. Pay by card. Hold tight. So that okay, all right, not a third time. Let me just stop that.
And so you see that they make it accessible for everybody. I mean, for less than €1, you can leave downtown Cascais and go to Quinta Pazão and have a petting farm and pick vegetables. And if you want to, you can get off that bus as long as you have food and water and get on a trail that they just finished last year, and it'll take you back to the farmers market in 4 hours walking.
Very nice. Okay, so it was not exactly misleading, but obviously they can't do that journey in real time because that's going to take forever on Facebook. But that journey, how long does it take in real life?
I guess I have to factor in stops. But I mean, if it was a straight line and we never stopped, 15 minutes.
15 minutes out of town, and you're at the Quinta do Pichal there, and you can pick your own vegetables, and you can go for a trek, as you say, for a 4-hour wander around town. That's fantastic. That little card there, that blue card, is that Cascais' own travel card?
Not just Cascais, because you can get on the train to go to Lisbon with it. But I mean, we're part of Lisbon's commune, so yeah.
Oh, I see. So it really, so because I was talking to the amazing Julian Sorensen, who I've got a lot of time for. He's got an Instagram site called Lisboa Car Free, and I'm sure he comes up to Cascais as well. He's probably done the Quinta da Pessoa there. So the card that you would use, that I think is €40 and allows you to go on any of the public transport in the Lisbon area, would apply in Cascais as well.
To the best of my knowledge, my son used to live in Lisbon, and he said he just had the one card, and he used it coming here or there. So I can't tell you that I've ever purchased one, but he did.
That sounds amazing. Okay, back to a few more comments before we take the temperature of the property market in Cascais.
You did want to talk about socks, I think.
I did. Yes, don't you worry. I won't forget about asking you about the sock shop in Cascais. So far, all days this week have started with dark clouds and low temperatures. Then sun comes out and heat starts. Oh, she's over your way in Estoril. You got this around 4 p.m. So yeah, a nice cool start to the day, which is quite all right at the moment, isn't it? And then a lovely late afternoon and early evening where you can enjoy Cascais and Estoril there. Similar pattern actually at the moment on the Silver Coast. Thank you for that. Maxine, good to hear from you. It's blooming freezing on the coast, says Pete. Santa Isidora was 12 degrees at night on Friday, whilst it was nearly 30 at night in central Portugal in Castelo Branco there, Pete. What's your strategy for that? A fan and just a single sheet, or no bedclothes on?
No bedclothes.
No
pictures. The fans basically sold out, so you're stuck. Like
you have to hire somebody in, Pete, with a with a few canna leaves to waft over you during the night. Bon dia, I hike in that forest almost every day. Love it. How good is that, Sharon, to see your favorite forest on there, and Wiley attracting thousands of other people to it to join you in the forest.
That's okay. It's big enough for everybody.
It's a magical mushroom place. I don't know. We can't
not sharing that information.
Possibly comment. Paulo Rego, of course, you have the museum of Paulo Rego there. Are you a visitor of that museum? Do you like her work?
You know what? We went in. They invited the Swedes in for an annual meeting, and they toured us through there. So yeah, not a fan of her work, but beautiful space.
They invited the Swedes in. Is this another thing about Cascais, where are there a lot of Swedish people, or does every nationality get invited in? Are you Swedish?
We have the Swedish community has its own meetups, and that's one of the places we go.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it was one of your get-togethers there. Okay, I get it. You're Swedish. Nationalities, many well represented in Cascais, of course. So, do you think there are similar nationality-based meetups across the town? I would imagine. I hesitated there because I think we've talked about this before. But the town, has it got the village status? There's some strange status, isn't there, that Cascais has got that it insisted on? I don't know if it's tax avoidance or something, but maybe Antonio F or Joao will be able to help us with that one. Well, it is interesting because in historic district, the taxes on the houses are different. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, which doesn't surprise us, but somebody else. Okay, very good. Good to know. Hard partying in the gateway to hell. Okay, you're not selling it to us yet, there, Pete. Far more likely to meet people I know. You can all count yourselves honorary members of the Orca Massive. Is this to do with the orcas that pushed a boat over and people had to be rescued? I don't know what's being spoken about. No. Random, Pete, random. That forest is part of the Sintra Cascais Natural Park. No, true, says Antonio. So what is the scale of that then? It sounds like that's just a beautiful place within a whole network of beautiful places. Is that right? It goes on forever and ever. Right. It's just amazing. Yeah. You can see, I mean, if you did an aerial, you'd see this massive stretch of green. It's gorgeous. One of Portugal's wonderful national parks. Excellent. Thank you, Antonio. Costa do Estoril has been on my definitely want to visit list from the very first virtual exploration of the area. Go there, James. Money has a way of keeping everything well run, clean, and pristine. Well, yes, it does, doesn't it? And Quinta do Pichal is the place in question there where you can pick your own vegetables. What a fantastic idea that is. as well. Sam Nazare, hola, bon dia. Wiley, you've sold me on Cascais. Looks like I'll have to change my last name.
Sam Cascais.
Well, why not? So I think, yes, it looks as though Sam, this is what I call San Martino de Porto syndrome. You fall in love with a new place as soon as you get there, basically. And he's not even been there. He's just fallen in love on your recommendation here. And on that note, what's it looking like for anybody who wants to buy in Cascais? Is property coming onto the market? Are those prices continuing to rise astronomically?
I put an offer on a house a week ago and lost it to a higher bid.
Oh, okay.
That, and when we came in strong. So I was like, but we didn't know, neither of us went to the asking. So we'll say that, but there are still multiples. My lawyer and I were having lunch the other day and she looked at me and she said, I see some dropping. I see quite a bit of drop.
Oh, okay. Good to know. There you go, Sam.
And I said, I agree with you. I see more drops than we saw prior. So we're seeing a lot of decreases, even if it's just, sometimes people are being silly. They come back because they want to bring their house back up to the top of the list. They'll drop it by 2%. And you're like, I was going to negotiate that away anyway. So I don't know why that is. But I mean, sometimes it's a tactic just to bring your house back up to the top, because when you do that, it kind of relists it and then it goes, on Idealista, kind of does that.
Yeah.
So that's a tactic. But I do see some, not in the rental market, that is still crazy, but in the housing market, I can say that I start to see it. I mean, the American market it's horrible. My mother's house was on the market for 2.2 million. They sold it for 1.2 million.
Really? That is pretty.
It's been on the market. Yeah, it's on the market for 4 months, and after 4 months, your house is dead. So it was just
how it works in America.
Crazy.
Wow. Okay, that's quite shocking, isn't it? Right.
I mean, when we say America, that's a really broad scale of conversation. This was a smaller town in Florida, but it was devastating. And the Americans who are coming here will say, some of them lucky they got out while it was just like, woo, and now it's just.
So for Americans watching and listening, that peak has passed then, has it? Because some people were. I mean, the conversations I was having with people last year were, wow, we couldn't. I mean, we had people crawling all over us to buy our place, and they made a fortune on it sometimes because they had it for years and years, and it provided them with the means to come to Portugal and live a very comfortable life. But that little window has passed, is it, for the time being? Again,
it's a huge place, so I'm being specific, and the experience I'm having speaking to the Americans coming here it's the same experience. It's just if you didn't ride this wave, then you're drowning.
Wow.
It's just, we're so devastated. But
that's pretty sobering, isn't it? Okay. Cheer yourselves up, folks, with a look at the most beautiful roundabouts of Portugal on that address there. And there are some beautiful roundabouts, and there are some unusual roundabouts, aren't there? It's not a wasted opportunity in Portugal. Even if you're in a quiet town in central Portugal, you may see a civic art feature made on the roundabout. Quite extraordinary. Best run municipalities in the Lisbon area are Eiras, Mafra, and Cascais, in that order. Well, we've seen how wonderful Cascais is this morning. What's it like in Eiras and Mafra, I wonder? These three, says João, are the municipalities with the best quality of life and the best infrastructures in both the Lisbon and Setúbal area. Well, that's good to know, isn't it? Thank you very much, João, for that. How wonderful this garden is. I think talking about Quinta do Pichal there, fantastic food. Another reason to live in Cascais, as if you didn't have enough already this morning. There you go. What's this? João F. And remember, Irish Mary is a former convict. Well, there you go. Give people getting a second chance in life. There's the Portuguese sense of fair play possibly there as well. Allegedly, I cannot confirm or deny that. It's just what Antonio F. and João F. are saying to each other in the chat this morning. I don't want to be involved in any kind of legal action there. Allegedly, the roads are a bit dodgy around Mafra compared to the sticks where we are, says Pete there. There we go. We are getting help here. Cascais. That doesn't... Cascais. That's not helping, I don't think, as opposed to... Cascais. Okay. Hola, bon dia. The Faijo do Dia is the SOS band's The Finest, which could be the theme tune of Cascais, couldn't it? Released in 83, if it moves, funk it. A line from Froggy of Showstopper Promotions and Case to Soul Weekend back in the 80s. That's a very niche thing there. Is Mrs. Ming a tia de Cascais
Yes, she would definitely be that.
What does that mean? Like the auntie, the great auntie of Cascais, is that?
No, Tia de Cascais, it's a group of women who get their hair set dressed to the nines, and lunch.
Okay, so that's a thing. I
Yeah.
think that this might reveal some good images on a Google search. It's a thing then. What is a Tia de Cascais? BlancaValbuena.com, I think, has written a blog on it. So it's definitely a thing. Tell us more about them. So they set their hair in a certain way. They have certain
No, but it doesn't matter how old they are. Their hair is perfect. It's like they just walked out of a beauty salon. And here on Thursdays, because they have such a push on Fridays to get their hair set, on Thursdays, there are certain hairdressing salons, they will do it for 10 euros. So it's a wash and a blow dry. And they're impeccable, and their clothes are impeccable. It's like a fashion show, and they all sit down and they have their lunch, and they walk around with their designer bags, and it's like, for them, it's a parade. It's amazing to watch. It's beautiful, and they're not young. They're like, they've been doing this for years.
Not young. That's a really good way of putting it. And I think we've solved the mystery, perhaps, of the sock shop. Why would it be that there is a shop in Cascais that only sells socks, probably luxury socks, that the Tias de Cascais go and buy as presents for the
No, it's a sock shop because it's on a walking street.
I don't get it. What? What you need extra socks because of all that walking.
Dude, we have these two streets that are one of them is where most of all the tourists go to, this one walking street. Right. And it's the one, the black and white striped streets. It's either shops or restaurants. And they sell the exact same thing as the guy next door. And there was one of everything, but there was no sock shop. And so a shop that had been there forever shuts down, and we're all thinking, who's going to open up? I hope it's something different from everybody else. And it was, and they only sold socks.
You can say that again. Right, okay.
Scratching our heads going, who can pay the rent on socks? Like, we can't imagine why anybody would come to Cascais and buy Cascais socks. Like, it doesn't make any sense to anybody.
Yeah,
it's
that's
a crazy
right.
thing.
This is what Sarah was asking. Here's a question.
Yes.
In what has to be the high rent district?
Absolutely.
Socks. How does that work? So it works on, you called it the walking street, as in like the pedestrianized area where people are promenading and occasionally splashing the cash, showing off their wealth, and buying themselves a very expensive pair of socks, possibly.
You'll see the Tia de Cascais there. Okay, because the fancy shops are right around the corner.
This is amazing. This has been so educational this morning. Thank you very much. Correct that they. I'm not sure what that means either, but I'm sure Maxine will describe to us, or will elaborate on that. That was our first elected president in very turbulent times. He was one of the captains. I think I've missed a little bit of context here. This might be it. I was wondering why Alcaine has such good infrastructure until we discovered the former president lived there and the former chief of police of Fundão is locked up. Okay, so interesting stuff over there in central Portugal. All those days came and went. I did not know that was life. Oh, this is possibly some Swedish poetry. Is that right? Herbert Tingsten, a morose Swedish thinker. Do you know of this morose Swedish thinker that Maxine is referring to?
I don't. I'm not really Swedish. I lived half my life there, but I'm not Swedish.
Okay, distancing yourself from the morosity, I think now, and meatballs maybe. All those days that came and went, I did not know that was life. I think, okay, so maybe that's a poetry request for me to read out on another occasion. Whoever searches for museums in Cascais, don't miss the Museu do Mar, Dom Carlos I, right next to the Museu Paulo Rego. So there's another delight for you to enjoy there. Thank you for that, João F. Is that your dog making a noise in the background?
No, that's a drill.
Your dog is not. He's not putting some shelves up.
No, not today.
Right. Okay. Now I ask because I spoke to you the other day on the phone. I think I had a small child talking to me while I was on the phone, and you had a dog dragging you off. Or no, you were trying to pull the dog along the street. The dog had decided to stop walking, and we love to find out about people's pets. Wiley, tell us about your dog, if you will.
Some friends of ours, she's German and he's Swedish, have the most amazing rescue farm. We call it the Hilton Hotel for Dogs. It is the most beautiful place, and they just keep buying more land because they keep rescuing more animals. Anything from hamsters to horses, they will pick them up in a minute, and they rehabilitate them all at their own cost. They would probably accept a donation, but would never ask for one. There's no websites, there's no Facebooks, there's nothing that you can look at. And if you happen to know someone who knows them, you can go to their farm and they will, if they don't have a dog for you there, they have sometimes between 15 and 25 dogs there. And they kind of normalize because they're in a pack. And if the pack teaches them how to be dogs again, because sometimes they come from places where they weren't treated very well and they're a little bit messed up.
Okay.
If they don't have one there, she'll go to the rescue places with you, and you'll have to tell her, because the rescue place that she works with, there's over 350 animals there. And she said, you can't walk in because you'll lose your mind. So if you walk in and ask for, let's say, a Westie, then she'll go in and you'll ask for a white Westie, and she'll pull out 5 white Westies, and you kind of choose your white Westie. And then she'll help you to normalize or just help you go through the adoption process. And that's where we got ours from. He'd been in the Azores for a year and was pretty severely beaten. He'd been with her for 3 years and kind of was the top dog. But it's a cross between an English Shepherd and Australian. And the thing is that they're so smart that he used to take all 15 dogs out for these kind of walks, he would call them, we understand. And then he would tell them all that good luck finding home, and he'd run back and eat all their food. So they were tired of it because he did it not once, but 3 times. And they're like, stop it. We can't find everybody. And he's the only one around, just laughing. So we have him now, and he's hysterical and super smart. And he's been a joy, an absolute joy to have. So he's a good dog.
Okay, so perhaps at some point we'll have a picture and we'll be able to ask you about your dog when you see him.
He's hiding behind the sofa. I can't
Other famous dogs from this community are Mandela, who's not very well at the moment, and that's him having eaten his way through a door at Gilda's house. And this is him on his more formal portrait. He's a sweetie as well, isn't he? Look at him.
He eats doors? He's not that big.
Well, I think he has all day to do it.
Oh.
That's what the house looks like by the time you get home at the end, or it does for Gilda anyway. But that's him on a better day, and he was a bit poorly, I think, when he went away for his own little holiday. So we're sending love to Mandela there. What's your dog's name?
Oz.
Oz. So how lovely to meet Oz today. So maybe we'll see a picture of Oz one of these days. Lovely to know about people's pets. The Portuguese pooches, we can call them. So last few questions for you, Wiley. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Really appreciate it. That bus pass, as far as I know, the limits for that monthly pass are Mafra in the north, Setúbal in the south, Villafranca, De Gira in the east.
That's far.
It is a lot for €40 a month, and go anywhere you like on the bus, metro, train. And don't forget the ferry. Because the ferry's fantastic fun, going out from, for example, Time Out Market. Absolutely. There, how fantastic is that? Okay, so another museum there, Aquario. You've got an aquarium, I think. Vasco da Gama goes in hand with the Museu do Mar Dom Carlos I there. It's run by the Navy and is also a maritime scientific research institution. Fabulous. Thank you very much for that. João F. Tia de Cascais. Oh, here we go. He's not holding back. A snobbish kind of lady whom everyone calls Tia without even being related to them. And they always look impeccably well dressed right out of a movie. Well, we should make that movie. That sounds great. That sounds like the, Desperate Housewives kind of franchise that we could, have a lot of fun making that, I think. Carl Eirash's mayor was public prosecutor before he ran for mayor. He did a great job there. Had some issues with spare elections money. That's a nice way of putting it. Had some issues with spare money. So went for prison because of that. But after he was released, he ran again with no party support, as far as I recall, and won again. People didn't care about his past crime, but remembered his good earlier work. Excellent rehabilitation there. Were you going to add something there, Wiley?
No, I think that's wonderful.
Or the number of a good lawyer for when I get into trouble for them saying stuff like that on my show. There's a shop in Caldash that only sells socks. Maybe it's it's a pair. Of course, it's a pair. I love the sock shops. They're all over Lisboa, Amadora. I have to hold back when I get. You see, build it and they will come. Who knew? Children's socks, men's pink socks that my son in London asked me for. Beautiful. Anita in Lisbon, thank you for your contribution. Drawn from Lurkerdom to the forefront of the limelight to talk about your love of socks. I think all the socks are made in Portugal. Well, you would hope so, wouldn't you? And they have my business. How much for a pair of these pink socks that I might treat myself to? Manuel's in UK. Good morning, Portugal from the UK. Fantastic. Good to hear from you. Perhaps you're underestimating the sock market. Well, you weren't expecting to be having this conversation this morning, were you, Wiley? I saw a very well-dressed sock shop in Lisboa along a high-rent boulevard. It might be like the tin sardine shops, mightn't it? There's a massive markup. How did you guys invent Portugal? Well, we can't take the credit for that, can we, Wiley?
No, we'd like to, but we can't.
Yes, we can't. I'm sorry,
We
Keelan
would if
Powell.
we could, but we can't.
Like, was it a God thing or did you make it? Again, we can't claim to have such supernatural and awesome powers as the creator, whatever you consider that to be, or the great generations that produced the contemporary Cascais and all of Portugal such as it is now. I don't know if we are coming across as taking too much credit for how Portugal is. I don't know, but Keelan continues. Portugal is real, so I'm just curious as to how it was made. I think that's going to have to be a special program, don't you, Wiley? It's a bit more to chew on than we've got time for right now. That's a Portugal dog. Keelan, you're worrying me now. Okay. All right. But you have my number. If you need to talk, you know where I am. Portugal pasta recipe, local mums. Okay, Keelan, I think I'm probably going to stop reading out your comments now, but thank you for them nonetheless. Thank you to Wiley, Cascais. It was all too much. Maybe those mushrooms.
I was gonna go there, but I was gonna let you do it.
All right. No listings today. No, Pete. We'll come back and talk to Wiley about listings another time. Wiley, thank you so much for your introduction to the, what would we call it? The other side, the other part, the other aspects, the undersung, underrated aspects possibly of Cascais that people don't know about. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to jump on that bus. Yeah, we're going to jump on the bus. Love to Oz and see you next month. Ciao, ciao.
Bye. Thank you.
All the best. Bye for now. There she goes. There's Wiley in Cascais. That was very helpful this morning. And Keelan's not stopping. Why did you make Portugal? I didn't. I'd just like to put that straight now, Keelan. I didn't make Portugal. I just do a show about my love of Portugal every weekday morning. I am concerned. We are too, Keelan. For your information, here we go. You're going to get some answers now from João and Antonio, who are helping me out. Thank you very much. Portugal was born from a son beating up his mother. Ah, that's the royal family we're talking. That's the kind of royal family they had here. I think that's a reference to Portugal's monarchic past. Anarchic and monarchic there, it would appear from the description that João F gives there. In these last 12 minutes, I'm very happy to take a look at the news and, of course, handle any more of your input coming in. And who doesn't like to handle a bit of input first thing in the morning? Hold on a minute. That's not true. You're mistaken, but that's okay. Keelan Powell, you're an intriguing character. Let us know more about yourself. And let's take a quick look at the weather, shall we, for today and perhaps the rest of the week, looking towards the weekend. No, I don't want to leave this tab. That could be difficult. A bit like yesterday when my camera just stopped working twice after mentioning the Chinese government, I think. Let's see if that happens again. I've done it again. Okay, the weather then. Let's have a quick look and maybe a few of the top news stories over at the Portugal News and Portugal Resident, because we neglected to do that yesterday. Got carried away talking with Michael about Portuguese food. That weather then first. Let's have a look at that. And any parting comments you wish to make? This sounds like one from Keelan. I love you and Portugal, your creation. Well, okay, fair enough. I'll take the credit this morning. Keelan, good to meet you. Muito prazer. And the weather then this morning and for the rest of the day, perhaps the rest of the week. Let's have a look. Let's see what the temperatures are looking like. Are they continuing to rise or are we getting a little bit of respite from those high temperatures? 66 in the capital at the moment in the Fahrenheit, 19 degrees centigrade. It will rise to 81, okay? It will rise to 81 Fahrenheit. And that's 27. So, getting towards the hotter temperatures recently, up to 27 there, but presumably nothing like Coimbra. No, it's not. 34 will be the high in Coimbra today, 36 tomorrow, and dropping a little bit for the weekend. So a 34 and a 33 weekend in central Portugal, Coimbra. Well, we'll go a little bit further in just a moment to find out what's happening in Castelo Branco for Pete's sake, so to speak. Faro, 24 at the moment, rising to 26, and the weekend will be 25 and 24 and sunny, respectively. Let's scroll through, see what's happening. Oh, we didn't go to the north. I can't not do that. We're going to be talking to Hank and Connie tonight in Porto, where it's currently 18 degrees and misty and will rise to 24. The weekend looking like 24 and 22. Sunny week ahead, though, after Sunday, looking into next week. Aveiro district, 18 at the moment, rising to 24. Beja, 19 at the moment, rising to 35. Later on today, it's going to be a hot one in the Alentejo. Braga, up north, 33 though. The high today, currently 18 with broken clouds. Castelo Branco, 36, Pete, with a 35 and a 34 for a nice sunny weekend. Hot, hot, hot in Castelo Branco in central this coming weekend. Currently 26, currently 24 in Evra, rising to 36 today with a 34 and a 34 for Saturday and Sunday, respectively. Leria, our district here, 19 at the moment, and misty. I can see that through my window. 27 degrees will be the high today. And Santarém, you might expect to be warm, and it will be 20 at the moment with overcast clouds, 32 the high, and a 34 and 34 weekend. A bit cloudy, some cloud cover, a little bit of relief from the sun over the weekend in Santarém. And Vizier will rise to 35 today, starting off at 23. And let's see what the highest temperatures will be. 35 possibly Bragança. Similarly in Porto Alegre. So yeah, they have it. Oh no, Villarreal has it at 36. And finally, the autonomous regions, the Azores, 25 will be the high today. Raining in the Azores and like straight rain for 7 days forecast. 23 and misty at the moment. And a very cool 12 in Madeira at the moment, rising to 16 later on today. And a weekend of 17 and 16 respectively. There you go. That's your weather for Portugal for the time being. Do let me know where you are and what the weather is like at the moment. What's happening with Keelan here? Actually, it's true. Sorry to disappoint you. Okay, with the story of familial violence, there's the beginnings of some part of Portuguese history. Anyway, Carl makes Portugal in his garage. Okay, thank you. I love you, Carl. I'll talk to you later. Okay, Celsius is a little confusing, so I'm going to go play or something. I don't know. Says Keelan Powell. Maybe take a nap. This community is your community as well, Keelan, and I think you're getting a little bit of advice here now. But yeah, maybe take a nap. I did not know it was moved to Portugal Thursday. I'm so excited. Okay, bye. It's not an instruction to everybody, Keelan. You sound like you might be quite a literal guy or gal, I don't know. Yes, the idea that it's moved to Portugal Thursday doesn't mean that everyone has to move to Portugal today. That could be quite difficult logistically, and you do need a visa, which you can find out about on Migration Monday with Gilda this coming Monday. Tomorrow is Feel Good Friday with Jenny B, of course. Looking forward to having a chat with Jenny tomorrow and catching up with her. So let's have a look in these last few minutes of the show at the news headlines from the Portugal News and the Portugal Resident, or anything else indeed that you would like to share, folks. I think I've been sent a lovely roundabout seahorse sculpture. See, I told you, public art roundabouts. It's a thing. It's an exciting thing here in Portugal. So I would like to share that with you. I think the technology is starting to groan a little bit after its major workout today, but I think we should be able to bring you that seahorse. Yep, okay. Seahorse sculpture in Olhão. Thank you for that, Picky, there. Really appreciate that, Jean, this morning. And of course, your produce. Yeah, 2 days running. Fine Portuguese produce at the Quinta do Pisão today and yesterday, Fuseta Market, the Mercado Municipal. But today from Jean, 2 pictures of seahorses. One of them doesn't want to download for some reason, but I've got one of them, and I think that should be enough, Jean. Thank you so much for this. Let's have a look at your seahorse roundabout in Olhão, coming right up in a moment. My goodness. And Philomena sent me in a stack of pictures, which I'll keep until tomorrow. That's of the Expo Fakik, I think it's called, isn't it, in Cantanhede, which we did tell you was going to be massive. And my God, looking at the pictures, Marisa's playing there as well. Looking at the pictures, it's quite extraordinary. We'll bring you those tomorrow. For you motorbike fans, tune in tomorrow for those pictures from Philomena. Look at the size of that seahorse. And they're live bearing. Is that the word for seahorses? They birth live youngsters, don't they? No reference to that on the roundabout in Olhão there, but a beautiful sculpture. Told you, fantastic civic public art on Portuguese roundabouts. That's one of them, and it probably made the cut, didn't it, for as mais belas rotundas in Portugal. Let's have a look then at the news for a moment. Portugal news headlines. Don't forget then, any nominations for Portuguese poetry, please send them in. I will read those. Would love to read some Portuguese poetry. And news headlines now then. Portugal News will do this for the Portugal Resident as well. Developers reducing tourist projects is one of the headlines I can see. And so can you now, as I share that with you on your screen. The peculiar tastes of the Portuguese. That is a really good article. We might have a very quick look at that this morning. What's this? Sinopeg can supply 19 excipients at the level of 100 kilograms. I have no idea what that advert means, and I don't even suppose the people who posted it have any idea what that means. Record-breaking energy consumption driven by high temperatures. Oh, okay, yeah, for air conditioning, of course. It's a little bit worrying. That's going to cost you, isn't it? 50,000 shortfall in tourism workers. This is what Gilda was talking about, of course, earlier on this week. She's been on holiday to the Algarve and noticed the shortage of workers. It can take a little bit longer. Be patient, folks, in the restaurants. The hospitality industry is getting back on its feet, but it hasn't broken into a run just yet. More Portuguese choosing to live in Canada. That's an interesting plot twist, isn't it, on the Good Morning Portugal show? Almost 6,000 people sign up for free Lisbon transport in a week. We were talking about how good value it was. It's got even better. Free Lisbon transport. Check that out at the Portugal News. And Spain is cutting water consumption. I'm sure Portugal will be following suit soon. Properties by the sea. Another nice article there. Where are the cheapest locations in Portugal? Shush! Don't tell everybody. And the drought worsens in Portugal, as I suspected, as Wiley alluded to as well. First heated seawater pool. Is it called the Atlantic? Because that is a picture of the Atlantic, and it's not strictly speaking a heated seawater pool except by the sun. I suspect that's a slightly misleading picture there by the picture editor at the Portugal News. And filler words to embellish your Portuguese. John recommended this to us just recently. Filler words to embellish your Portuguese. I think poish figures quite highly in that. So I'm going to have a look at the peculiar taste of the Portuguese to finish with this morning. But that's not until we've had a look at the Portugal resident. We'll come back to the peculiar taste of the Portuguese in just a little while. Let's have a look at what the resident are saying this morning and bring that to the screen for you as well so you can look with me. Where are you? Come on, computer. Let's do this. Portugal resident, Portugal News and Lifestyle newspaper. I did get in touch with Natasha over there, asking her about something to do with Portuguese news. She said the clue's in the title. It was more of an international thing. And she said, Carl, actually, we're called The Resident. It's for people who live here. Ah, yes, should have checked. Portugal has a government of many tweets, but few solutions. Ooh, scathing review there. Scathing political review. July sees electricity consumption in Portugal break all records. That's, of course, in the efforts to keep people cool. There it is for you on the screen now. Water truck to 50 locations in Trás-os-Montes. Now, you might expect the drought to be kicking in worst in the south. Trás-os-Montes up there in the northeast, if I'm not mistaken. My goodness. Wine producers on verge of bankruptcy. Now, we don't like to hear of that. I wonder, there's an obvious thing you can do to help here, folks. Let's have a quick click on that in just a moment. Parish councils still waiting for €5 million in reimbursement for COVID expenses. That could come in handy, couldn't it? And introducing Portugal's first renewable energy community. I want to have a look at that, but I'll probably do that one. That's a bit nichey, but I'll do that after the show. That sounds interesting, doesn't it? And we are tired of being robbed, say 200 carob farmers who were protesting in Lulay just recently, as were TAP pilots who staged a dramatic demo outside the company's Lisbon HQ. When I saw that picture of all those TAP pilots, I thought, who's flying the planes? Or are they all grounded? Is it part of some industrial action that's going on at the moment? But I'm concerned by this. Wine producers on verge of bankruptcy. Let's take a quick look at this item and see what we can do to help this morning. Probably rush out and buy some of their wine. Rising costs are squeezing out all small and medium enterprises. This is what happens in our system, isn't it? It's going to the big producers who can manage to stay in business while the little ones struggle. Shall we go to some community funding models here? I'd be happy to support a local vineyard. I really would. I think it's really important that we do that, not just so that we can continue to enjoy their wine, but it's very important that these small and medium enterprises, or that we find like a meta solution to this so that not everything is just going to become big corporates dominating markets all the time. We need to find business models that help, right? Continued price in the prices of raw materials, bottling materials, transport and costs in general is pushing many small and medium-sized producers, which make up the majority, as to be said, of the business fabric of the wine industry, to the brink of bankruptcy. Come on, let's do something about this, says the association in a statement released today. Find out more about that at theportugalresident.com. I shall put the link to that into the chat right now, so that you can see what I'm talking about. We've got to go back to the, what they called the peculiar taste of Portugal. And I have been sharing this article. Cascais, I know, are in there. We were talking about Cascais, weren't we, this week? Thanks to Sally for that fantastic artwork, or collection of artwork, Sally, that you sent our way. And yeah, there's the link to that one. But so back to the peculiar tastes, shall we? As we finish this morning. Oh, 1 minute past 10. I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to do it. Just very quickly, name checking those peculiar tastes. Give yourself marks out of 5. I think there are 5 of them here. However many there are, just give yourselves marks out of that number. Have you had Cascais, for example? There they are, coming to your screen right now. That thing made with chicken's blood, I think, features here as well. Have you had that one? Which would be called... not the Maranhão, I don't think, but the Maranhão, of course, we talked to Filomena about this, didn't we? It's like Portuguese haggis. Looks all right to me. The banduga, sheep or goat stomach, is sewn with thread, leaving only a small space for stuffing. Who doesn't like a small space for stuffing first thing in the morning? Chubaros as well, another one. Despite its fancy name, this dish is nothing less than bull or lamb testicles. Yikes. Is it just the 3 dishes that we're being treated to there that are the peculiar taste? Cascais, cabidela. Oh no, there we go. Arroz de cabidela. This dish originates in the Minho region in northern Portugal. Mark yourselves. I think it's 4. How many of those 4 have you had? Dish mainly focuses on chicken stew with rice, with the special touch of chicken blood. Mwahaha! Yes. Like a ritual sacrifice having that, isn't it? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Absolutely. And no good deed goes unpunished, Gene, right? Hola, just off my swim, 162 lengths. Youth club coming in, so lanes closed. Pool depth reduced. Okay, so not being able to do your full requirement of swimming there. But that said, Antonio, you're quite right, Tadigo. That's a lot of exercise in the morning. Where are they? The dog place. Please give me... Oh, you're watching a little bit further back in time, I think. You'll have to get in touch with Wiley with that. I think it's a friend referral system, so they don't have people rocking up all day and night, dumping dogs or trying to get dogs. And hi, Victoria, finally then, from Joao F. Balcony tomato plants. Do you actually pick them for use in your food? She certainly does, and I missed that. But I'm looking forward. Oh, my balcony tomato plants are very happy. Tia Cascais, I think you have to be Portuguese in order to be a Tia Cascais. So Mrs. Ming does not qualify, although she might have honorary status. And I'm sorry to see I've missed a load of comments. Having scrolled through, I feel good. I love Feel Good Friday with Jenny, says James. Tune in tomorrow. And I think we've lost Keelan Powell for the time being. Cascais, public transport is free. So that is good value. Thank you for that clarification, Maxine there. I'm so sorry if I missed anything. And I think I might have in the hurly-burly that was the finish and the climax of the show. Who doesn't like a hurly-burly climax finish first thing in the morning? Be good. And if you can't be good, be careful. And we'll see you this evening on the webinar if you're going to come along and have a chat with the Stelikas, the legendary Stelikas. See you then at 7:30, and I'll see you Premium Plus folks at 9 o'clock. Have a great day. Ciao for now.